Tonight I decided to do something different because, as some may know from the last video, it was relatively short. Um, I thought I had enough to talk about, and I ended up not being able to really talk all that much about Nick Cage. But then again, I was talking about a movie that the only thing we know about it is Nick Cage. So, Nick Cage starring as Nick Cage in a Nick Cage movie. Wow. I talked about it in 5 seconds. So tonight I decided let's go into another aspect of my life. And if you haven't been able to tell, we are going to be actually talking about WWE tonight. It's something that is very, very important to me in a lot of weird ways. And we're going to go into them tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw right now. Because if you followed me from Robert Storm's channel over to here, we talk about the fact that I don't have a job right now. So I had to put on hold my Hulu, so I can't actually watch Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, or, well, I never watched NXT. I probably should. Everybody says it's, like, really good. And I want to address also this. Like, I know I'm wearing a Star Wars hat instead of WWE stuff. I thought about wearing my Daniel Bryan thing, but I look kind of weird with one of these on my head. The reason why I'm wearing this is because it's a dad cap, which is really kind of cool. It has the that backing, which I used to be like hard. Like, I love the snapback, like the old school stuff. But I like this now, and I really hate the Velcro. I've had to wear Velcro at the last 2 jobs I've had, and if you can't tell, I have long hair. Even when I had shorter hair, the hair would get stuck in the Velcro, and then I'd go to take the cap off, and it would just start ripping at my hair. So that's why I'm wearing the Star Wars hat. I love this hat. I got it randomly. Which, let me go into that story. I was canceling some of my loot crates, kind of dwindling them down, and for the longest time, and it was one of the sadder ones that I had to cancel. For the longest time, I was getting my daughter the WWE Slamcrate, but it was more important to do her black belt and karate, and since we're kind of running low on money, and she really wasn't enjoying it as much anymore, so I had to cancel that. Now, for some reason, I still got her WWE Slamcrate. I guess I missed the mark, but all of a sudden I got a random crate, and I opened it up, and it actually had a bunch of Star Wars stuff in it. And I've since gone on my loot crate, and I've looked to see, did I purchase this and I don't even know it? And no, they just randomly sent me a crate, but I think it had something to do with me canceling Annabelle's, because when I got it, like, I got this nice hat, I got the wallet that I'm now currently using, which has the same symbol and is right here on my bed, actually. So I got this wallet, which is really freaking cool. I actually quite enjoy this wallet. All my stuff is in it, so I'm not going to open it. And I got a raincoat, and I was like, sweet, I'm a delivery driver. Let me throw this in my car. If it gets too bad, I can kind of throw it on and look cool doing it. No, I'd look like a dork, but it was really cool. And then I got to the shirt, and I don't even remember what the shirt had on it, but I didn't even look at the size. I put it on, and I'm like, I'm not that fat. What the hell? And I took it off, and I looked, and it's a small. So I'm like, did they send me a random crate hoping that I would start doing this? Either way, but this stuff all came from Heroes and Villains, which actually has some really good stuff. I kind of wanted to get some stuff off there, but of course, no job. So now, going back into the WWE stuff, so I get WWE Slamcrate and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really fun. Actually, this right here, I have this, and I have the WWE Championship from Slamcrate, and it's really kind of fun. It's a fanny pack. It's actually got like dividers from here and everything. So I've gotten some really cool stuff from there, and I've gotten some really cool stuff from WWE Shop. So we're gonna go into like different stuff like that because this is going to be the first show. And if you know me at all, you know I talk way too much about WWE. So this is probably going to be one of those uh, longer videos. But let's kind of go into the history of me and the WWE. Um, when I right out of after fifth grade, I always find it funny because the last day of fifth grade, you had like all these people like crying and everything, going, "Oh my God, we're not going to see each other," and I'm the one going around. Uh, we're all going to the same middle school, which actually that wasn't true. Some of us was going to middle school. Others were going to a program that I think they definitely killed off because it's the stupidest fucking program. And even at that age, I knew it was stupid, where they would still go into an elementary school type setting rather than going into middle school. So me saying, "Oh, we're all going to be together. We'll see each other next year," and then I end up moving. That summer, me and my mom decided to move back up with my dad. In a lot of ways, that was a big mistake. In some ways, it wasn't. I still have a couple friends that are really important to me up there. But when I was up there, there was no cable. I no longer had Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, anything like that. So it was basically Saturday morning cartoons and then try to find stuff. That's why I started watching Seinfeld. That's why I started watching Frasier, like all this different stuff. But Thursdays didn't really have anything. And as I was flipping through, UPN had WWE SmackDown on Thursday nights at the time. And I know that uh, my cousins liked it, and I was kind of like, I was the people that I get mad at the most now are the same people that I was. I was, oh, it's fake, it's nothing, it's crappy, it's blah 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 blah, and I would bitch about it more than anybody. And then I got to see, still to this day, my favorite tag team of all time, my favorite female wrestler, and my favorite male wrestler in Team Xtreme, which, as you can see, I have represented right here. I actually have a Jeff Hardy doll up there too. Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, and Lita. They just, like, I don't know what it was, but I just connected with them so much. I absolutely love Team Xtreme. Which, by the way, I always hate when they refer to just Matt and Jeff as Team Xtreme. No, Matt and Jeff are the Hardy Boys. Matt, Jeff, and Lita are Team Xtreme. Freaking retards. Even the announcers do that nowadays. So I started watching SmackDown. I started watching the Hardy Boys and getting really into it. And then I started like really learning about it. It wasn't about the whole, is it fake? No, it's predetermined. Now, some people will sit there and go, well, what's the difference? The difference is pain. Like legit pain. I have been vertical suplexed. I actually, the person that vertical suplexed me, I taught them how to do a vertical suplex and then vertical suplex me. I've been F5'd, I've been FU'd or attitude adjustment. Um, I've had a running bulldog done on me. I used to do backyard wrestling. I freaking broke my nose. This is one of the best stories ever. Um, it was after the hurricanes. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was after Hurricane Katrina, which that was my friend yesterday. That happy birthday to her. Miss her. But oh, speaking of that, I'm going to switch over real quick. I want to do a shout out to my friend Adam Cologne. It is his birthday. Too sweet, man. I went to WrestleMania a couple years ago with him. He's one of my best friends, and we'll get into that a little bit later too. This is why I like WWE. The people. But yeah, so it was after the hurricanes. People were taking the boards down from their houses and they were just kind of throwing them out. We went over to I always call him Rodriguez. We went over to Rodriguez's ex-girlfriend, who is now a hardcore lesbian. We make fun of him all the time for that. She's sweet. She's actually a very sweet girl, at least from what I know. But we were sitting there, they were all talking, me and Rodriguez, we were sitting there kind of looking at the board, seeing, okay, can we hit each other in the back with this kind of work. And I went to go bust it over my knee, and when I did, I wasn't expecting it to bounce, and it bounced. I have a scar right here above my lip, but it hit me right in the face, and I started bleeding. I wish I could have seen through Rodriguez's eyes, because he says it to this day. It was the funniest shit he had ever seen. And I'm laughing because I just did something stupid, right? And if you haven't ever been hit in the nose, whether it gets broken or not, your nose immediately has snot in it. And so it was only in one of my nostrils, so I went to kind of blow it out. And as I did, I go like this, and it goes, and I literally felt my nose pop back into place. So I broke my nose. I never actually went to the doctor, so yeah, I'm amazed that, it's relatively straight. I got lucky. But I had that, and I remember Stephanie and I really didn't get along that much through nothing. Afterwards, we talked every now and then. Actually, I have a few stories about her, but but I remember she just booked it into her house. She came out with like a wad of paper towels. She didn't even just take the paper towels and then she literally like and just wadded them up and brought them out to me. And I'm just sitting there laughing. So that was like really, really funny backyard wrestling. But anyway, so like Thursday nights, I got into it, and the thing of the matter is, like I said, predetermined versus fake is not. There's nothing fake about it. It's very painful. Like I got vertical suplex, and I mean, I loved being vertical suplex. It was actually really, really fun, because basically you're looking at the ground, and then somebody lifts you straight up into the air, so you and him are parallel with each other. So you're basically an exclamation. Fuck it, you're an I. I don't care. I can't say that word. I've never been able to say that word. So you're doing that, and so you go from looking at the ground. Now the ground is above your head, and then before you know it, he basically a few different ways you can do a vertical suplex. You can do a snap suplex, which you go extremely fast and you're hitting the ground before you even know what's happening. You could do a delayed, which you kind of hold them up a little bit longer. And with the delay, you kind of stand up and then you slowly like drop back. Now, both people hit the mat. So how do you save yourself? Well, you lock your arm around their head so that you're kind of holding their head into place so that you don't kill each other. So I hit it. It knocked the wind out of me. Not for like an hour or, oh, I exaggerated a lot. Not for like, but a few seconds, but it was still kind of like it knocked the wind out of me. I was going to put this up, but anyway. I was actually going to wear that. I decided that my first show, I should wear the Hardy Boys. I wear this all the time. I love this. This is my favorite piece of merchandise, other than right there. So the difference between fake and predetermined. Predetermined, they just know who's going to win at the end of the day. Fake is Hollywood, and even Hollywood will tell you it's not that fake. Pain is pain. No matter what you do, things are painful. So I got into wrestling, and I started learning that wrestling was not this. I find it funny how many people say that they hate wrestling so much, and then you find out so many people like wrestling. And if you've never been to a wrestling event, I don't care if you don't like it or not, go to a wrestling event. It is so insane. I've gone to basketball games. I have gone to arena football. I've gone to baseball. I've gone to hockey, and no fan base is more fun than a wrestling crowd. And I remember the first show I ever went to, it was actually the year before WrestleMania, and when it first came down to Orlando, and I purchased a ticket for myself. I didn't have enough money for multiple people to go, so I spent like $55, I was working at Hollywood Video at the time. So to put that in perspective, $55, I had to work about 11 hours. At the time, I was only making like 5.50 an hour, so about 10 hours, let's say. I had to work 10 hours just for one ticket. Um, but I went by myself. I sat on the floor and I didn't feel alone, which throughout my life, I've always felt alone. So to be a part of a crowd that, even though I did not talk to anybody that day, I was part of a crowd that I was part of it. I wasn't just surrounded by it. It was really, really cool. And it was a Monday Night Raw. And like I said, I was on the ground. I was in the arena in Orlando. Now, sadly, they tore it down. Went to a lot of good stuff there, actually. But it's an experience that I don't think anybody realizes how great it is unless they've actually been a part of it, which we're going to talk about that too. But so I started making friends when I was in Michigan when I first started doing it. But we're going to actually talk about the real friends I've made. That it's actually kind of touching because this is what WWE has kind of given to me. It's giving me a sense of belonging. It's given me friends that have gotten me through some really tough times, and it's actually a way that me and my daughter, as I said, she used to get the WWE Slamcrate. It's a way for us to kind of connect. So it's something special that I don't think a lot of people really understand it, because I don't think they really want to understand it. But then again, they find it in other facets. I mean, look at all the weirdos that go to Universal and go to Harry Potter and do the exact same thing every single time, and nothing actually changes. And there's a statue of a dragon that shoots out a fireball, and they're all amazed by it. And I'm like, it's a statue. You can actually see the mechanism in its mouth where the fire's going to come out. But whatever. I'm not going to complain about that too much. Yes, I'm not a Harry Potter fan whatsoever. Mainly because of the fan base. But so it got me something pretty good. So I started making friends, especially the later part of my high school life. And then when I graduated, like, all those friends weren't around anymore. And it was not really their fault. At the time, we didn't really exchange numbers or anything like that. So we just kind of drifted away. And then, of course, Facebook came in, and I remember, so before I get into that, sorry. So when I was at Hollywood Video, I told you I went to my first Monday Night Raw. Well, then something extremely special came. The first WrestleMania to come to Orlando. And I was like, I have to go there. Like, I have to be there. And I just remember, like, I was actually really stupid because I was still spending so much money that all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, I don't have a lot of money. When the tickets go on sale, am I going to be able to pay for them? Like, and I started like freaking out in my own head. And I remember my paycheck that I got right beforehand. Actually, I made like $600. And that was the paycheck I paid for my tickets. My two original tickets which are actually right up there. I don't know. Yeah, you can kind of see them there with an actual Russell. I don't even know where I got that. That is like, I all of a sudden found that while I was cleaning one day, so I ended up putting it in there because I used to have it in a smaller frame, and it would just show the ticket, and then I got Floyd Money Mayweather was there that year, and when he came out, cash rained down. Unfortunately, it was fake. I was hoping it was real. And I know everybody's like, oh, well, why would it be real? Because literally earlier that year, they launched real money into the crowd at a Monday Night Raw. So that's why it could have been real. But I remember I didn't want to go alone to that. And I didn't have enough money for the one ticket that I wanted. I'm so sad that I didn't have this money, because back then, to get into the front row, which if you get front row tickets to any pay-per-view, when you get up, and honestly, this is the funniest thing you'll ever see, when those people get up, they fold their chairs, put it underneath their arm, and they walk out with the chairs. They're special WrestleMania chairs. What's also sad is back then they used to sell those chairs on WWE Shop for like $100 after the show. So it was really kind of sad that I didn't get a chance to do either or. Especially spending $100 back then, I was like, ooh. Nowadays, I typically get a job where I can put $100 down and not feel like I'm going to be broke for the next 2 months. So I got to go to that, and I bought the ticket for me, and I bought the ticket for my cousin. So we ended up going during the Floyd Mayweather fight, where he fought the Big Show in the stupidest match ever conceived. The crowd was, if you watch that, you'll hear the crowd cheering at a certain point, probably a little bit louder. They're not cheering the match. They're cheering the fact that, because I was really close to the actual thing, I was on the ground of the Citrus Bowl, which is now Camping World Stadium. We were cheering at the fact that somebody got into a fight and they were basically ejecting him. It was so great. During that as well, at the time, the Divas match, Snoop Dogg, I think, came out, or was that no, Snoop Dogg came out that night, and they made fun of him because he fell asleep in the chair. And during that, the lights went off because it was actually going to rain. And what's actually funny, and printed on those tickets, it says rain or shine. I almost wanted it to just pour down rain just so it would be an experience and a half. But so that was an experience I never thought I would get to do again, which I got to do again. So after that, I lost my job. I had a kid, and I became a stay-at-home dad for a while. And then my ex left. I was all alone in one of my darkest days. And the one person, I reached out to probably so many people, but the one person that actually like talked to me again was my buddy Adam. And he has become, I really need to start turning that down or off. He has become one of my best friends, and the only reason he and I met was because of WWE, because we were such fans of wrestling. Sooner or later, I hope to get him on the show, because I'm going to try to do a wrestling show like every week now. But he became a really good point in my life, and today is his birthday. So Adam, oh, sorry, trying to think of all the different ones. That, Too Sweet, Guns, Flip Off, Just Bring It. Okay, I got bored. So that's the thing. WWE is more than just a sporting show, and I think it's also the stories behind them that I like more. Because like I've watched UC. I always try to say UCF because I'm actually near UCF, but UFC fighting and all that, and I just look at them constantly like bad mouthing each other, and I'm like, so let me get this straight. The only reason you hate this person is because they earned a right to fight you, which is in turn making you money. So you're mad at them for making you money and challenging you for your title. Okay. But why do you actually hate him? They don't. So WWE, they do storylines, so it's always a little bit more fun for me. But I have now gone to 2 WrestleManias. I went to WrestleMania 2 years ago. I'm really, like, even though I don't have a job, I'm still holding out hope that I can get a job soon and be able to go to WrestleMania next year. It's coming in Tampa, and it's got a pirate theme, which is going to be like, I don't know what they're going to do, so I'm actually really excited to see it. I remember I have this video, and it's such a great video of when I got my job 2 jobs ago, and I met my best friend and different things, I was able to, that Christmas, I bought SmackDown tickets for my daughter, and I think I got the video footage of that too. Um, her on Christmas, and she opened them, and she started bawling. She grabbed a hold of me, she wrapped her arms around me, and she just kind of sat there crying for a while. So it was something really, really special. And then by time her birthday rolled around in July, I remember the first time we went. Um, I bought her, I think, one of the title belts, the like kids titles, and I would buy her like a bunch of stuff. I think I bought her like 2 or 3 different things, and I decided to buy myself something that I really, really wanted, which was the Money in the Bank briefcase, which at the time was blue for SmackDown. Um, and I was it kind of sucked because right after I got it, of course, she was like, I want one. And I was like, I can't afford to buy it twice. I told her, I'm like, maybe next time I got you a lot of stuff. Because I did. I think I bought her a shirt. I bought her that title belt, which is like $30 there. You can actually get it cheaper other places. But I had bought her a bunch of stuff. So it's like, and I just legitimately could not afford to buy another one. So I said, maybe next time you did get a bunch of stuff. So by the time her birthday came around, she was extremely into Carmella. So big shout out to Carmella because she was my daughter's favorite. I think no, she didn't end up dressing up like her that year. But so by the time her birthday came around, I had gotten a lot more money because I had actually gotten promoted and I was a manager, and I had a lot of money put away and I was doing really good. So I wanted to go all out, and SmackDown came back. So I bought her the white Money in the Bank briefcase. I bought that. I ended up buying her a Carmella shirt, Carmella hat, Carmella chain. And then before that, it was kind of funny. Before we got into all that, she was actually getting really into Bayley. So I actually bought her a bleacher creature of Bayley. And so that was in there. So it didn't match up with anything. So the briefcase, which Carmella was the first Money in the Bank female winner, her shirt, hat, chain, and then I went to one of my favorite artists at Muse Tap Studios, and I got a custom piece done of Carmella, which is really, really nice. I wish I had a picture to show you right now, but so I got all that, and then, like I said, SmackDown came back, so I had the package. I could not fit the picture in it, so that was, you had the Money in the Bank briefcase, you had the picture underneath it. She saw that, that was great. She opens the briefcase, there's the shirt, there's the hat, and as she's going through it, all of a sudden she lifted up the shirt to show everybody, and she saw the tickets. And you just see her like start shaking and crying again. And so it was really something special. I took her to Road to SummerSlam recently, and I think I took her to Monday Night Raw. So she's gone like 3 or 4 times. I think 4 times now. I really wanted to take her to WrestleMania, but like I said, it's probably out of the question now. Tickets are already on sale. So it's been something that's really kind of given me something over the years, and I don't think people think about WWE in that faction. Now, I will say, as somebody came in here for just a second and said that they used to be a big fan, but the fall of WWE throughout the years, and yeah, I mean, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, in NXT is supposedly still good. I haven't really watched it, but the fall of these shows have been kind of weird as we kind of look at Monday Night Raw. Now, this happened on the 18th, which is still last night. This storyline is actually pretty good because this is what the when I first started watching it, they were doing the WCW Invasion. I actually got to see, for some reason, I got to see the Monday Night Raw where Shane McMahon popped up on the Jumbotron. It was really weird. But this has been kind of really fun. Now, like I said, I didn't get to see the whole thing, but I did watch a lot of highlights. And we're going to go to this first match because I'm like, it kind of made no sense. Like, Becky Lynch, she is great right now. Becky Lynch as the man. And they're doing some really cool stuff with her, but I'm begging them, get her away from Charlotte fucking Flair. I'm so sick of it. It's like you can't ever get Becky away from her. Every time Becky's going through any kind of programming, all of a sudden, here's Charlotte Flair. Like, she came out and she was talking about how her, Bayley, and the NXT champion, not sure who the NXT champion is right now. Let's see if it has it up here. There she is. Not a very good picture of her, but, and I'm not, Shayna Baszler, that's how you say it. So you had Shayna Baszler. They're about to go through in a triple threat match at Survivor Series, which if you don't know what Survivor Series is, basically you do Team Raw, Team SmackDown, and now Team NXT. Usually a classic Survivor Series is a 5-on-5 tag team match, and it's an elimination. But typically they have the champions go after each other. They have all this kind of stuff. So she's about to go through this triple threat. As she's sitting there talking, the Iconics come out, which I like the girls in the Iconics. I think they're a little stupid, their character, but it works. Like they're actually semi-entertaining, and they're actually really real life friends, and they've kind of followed each other. It's almost like an Edge and Christian story, because for those of you who don't know, Edge and Christian were like brothers in WWE, kind of billed as brothers almost, and then you come to find out they're not brothers, but they might as well be. Hell, they got their wives pregnant at the exact same time to have kids almost around the exact same time. It's so weird. But they're like best friends, and it's awesome. And that's what the Iconics kind of are. They're also the second team to win the female tag team titles. So they've gotten some stuff behind them. But so they come out, and Becky Lynch is like, oh, people will love seeing me take on the both of you. And I'm like, okay, I'd watch that. I mean, and then of course Charlotte Flair comes out, because you can't have Becky Lynch without Charlotte Flair. Now, before Becky Lynch was the man, which I actually love that persona. It's so cool. She was actually almost tagging with Charlotte. They were the Tea Time Girls or whatever. I don't know. They were doing some weird videos. But it's like ever since they kind of split up, first Charlotte went off on her, beat the shit out of her, and then she became the man, which is it's supposed to be a heel character, but it's too good of a character. So it's reminiscent of Stone Cold Steve Austin. But like, you can't get rid of her. Just like was it the WrestleMania I went to? No. The last WrestleMania, she was supposed to go against Ronda Rousey for the, well, she had already won, or no, she was supposed to go after her for the Raw Women's title. And it was such a good program that they all of a sudden were like, you know what? Let's put Charlotte Flair in it. And it was like, why? Why is she here? Like, they were already building up the Ronda and Becky storyline so much, and then all of a sudden, no, let's put Charlotte Flair in at pretty much the last minute. So it's like, please get Charlotte Flair out of there. Like, let Becky kind of hang by herself. And Charlotte came out and basically kind of degraded Becky a little bit. It's like, oh, they all want you and me to go at it. It's like, no, get the fuck away. Like, I don't want Charlotte there anymore. So they ended up defeating the Iconics, and then they walked back to the back. Like I said, it's such a weird thing. But as they walk back to the back, as you can see, it says featured stars, and there's clearly more than 4. You ended up having the NXT women run out there and start beating the shit out of the Iconics, which Charlotte and Becky went back in. So it's whatever. Then you got this next match, which I really could care less about. I don't know who Umberto is. I know he's a new guy, and like I said, you can't ever get out of having tie-ins. And then you got this. I don't. I'm so like we're talking about get Charlotte out of Becky Lynch's stuff. Stop having Lana go to different men. Like when right before her and Rusev really did get married in real life, they had her in a program where originally she was the valet for Rusev, and then all of a sudden they started putting her into a program which is actually, it was really good for the Lana character. She was in a program with Dolph Ziggler where she ended up becoming his valet and then his girlfriend, and they kissed, and she started wearing this really cool jean jacket and started really shedding the stupid character that she was stuck with that was never going to amount to anything. And then, of course, during that time, they did something that really should have caused them both to have a lot of problems. They announced the fact that they actually got married, which titled the show Breaking Kayfabe, or Kayfabe, depending on how you want to say it, is something in WWE you do not do. If your characters are doing this on TV, you do not say off TV that, oh no, we're not only are we still together, but we're getting married. So this whole thing on TV is just fake. And then this past year with the start of AEW and WWE saying that they've gone down quite a bit, they had a lot of stars like just sitting at home, and everybody was kind of wondering, are they ever going to come back? Well, Rusev and Lana was one of them. And then Rusev made his way back, and then all of a sudden, right as you thought his momentum was actually going to go for good again, all of a sudden, here we have this fucking stupid storyline where, oh, she's back, she's cheating on you now with Bobby Lashley, and it's just this retarded thing, because it's like, it's making her look bad. Honestly, it's such a downward spiral for her that it's gonna suck for her in the long run. It's not gonna make her anything. Bobby Lashley, why? Like, it's just the stupidest storyline. Now she's getting a divorce from Rusev and all that. It's really kind of stupid. Then we go to the next match for Monday Night Raw. Seth Rollins versus Andrade, which this was actually a really cool match. I got to see some of the highlights from it because, like I said, I can't watch it. These two had really good chemistry in the ring. The one thing, and this is actually really bad to say, but I will say this has to do with Andrade's valet, which I feel really bad for, because I really do like her and I like her husband. Because his valet's name is Elena Vega. I think she has some personality, but she doesn't seem to show it in the ring, or not in the ring. She doesn't seem to show it when she's on the mic. And I will say that was the only thing I thought was wrong with the movie about Paige called Fighting with My Family. The fact that they couldn't get AJ Lee because AJ Lee was no longer with WWE. Her husband, CM Punk, at the time, completely was dogging WWE left and right. They started doing this movie, and they were like, okay, we got to cast an actress. And The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, knows Zelina Vega. I don't know what their history is, but they know of each other. So he cast her as AJ Lee. But what was weird is she didn't actually play AJ Lee. Like, that's what she was billed as, but she came out in like a Ric Flair type robe, and she was talking all weird, and I'm like, So you guys didn't want to show AJ Lee at all. Like AJ Lee would always be in jean shorts, and she had the Love Bites skeletal structure, and she would skip out to the ring, and she just had this very unique way of doing stuff. And it's like you went to the complete opposite. And then this is where I have a problem with Zelina Vega. She emphasizes certain words on the mic that just every time she spoke, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, stop doing that. And I say I like her, and I like her personality, and I like the fact that they're also they're letting her do more in the ring, which she did a spot a few weeks ago where Andrade distracts the referee, and she jumps off the apron and does a hurricanrana on Andrade's opponent, which that's awesome. Get her to do stuff like that. She can do that. And with her personality, I watched her and her husband. Um, wow, all of a sudden I'm like blanking on her husband's name. I'm sorry. This is someone I really like too. So what the fuck? I can't think about it. Oh, there we go. Aleister Black. Sorry, I had to look him up. That's her husband right here. Now, Zelina Vega, which you're not going to be able to see because it's not going to load up anytime soon, because as you can see, it's only in the B's. Zelina Vega is very, very pretty. Actually, I can just do this. So they're actually like really, really different, but that's Zelina Vega. Very pretty girl. She has skills in the ring. Like, she trains with her husband, and it's freaking badass as fuck. Um, but I don't know. I don't know why either she makes those decisions to talk the way she is, but like as soon as I'm listening to her on the mic, I'm like, what are you doing? Don't try. Just let the words come out naturally. She really needs to take like a promo class from Paul Heyman in order to speak correctly, because Paul Heyman is probably one of the best managers and best talkers in the business. So this was a really cool match. I got to see quite a bit of this match, and both Seth Rollins and Andrade are very, very good in the ring. So it was actually a very good match. Of course, then it gets stopped by NXT. They end up fighting them off, and then Seth Rollins, which I think he's been doing this a lot lately, kind of shaking people's hands after he fights them. And he got on the mic and said, that was a great match. You should be proud of yourself. And I'm like, okay. I mean, they're playing up the baby face, which is of course the good guy. But Lucha House Party came out. SmackDown came out. That's who came out. I really could care less about Buddy Murphy or thing. This did have Aleister Black. I didn't really care about any of that. Eric Rowan, we don't really know what Eric Rowan is kind of doing right now. He's doing this like weird character that I don't think anybody really has a handle on. So I'm just going to kind of skip over that. Then we come to this. Now, this is going to be the most interesting thing in my book. The fact that Triple H tried to recruit Kevin Owens to NXT. Kevin Owens, since coming to the main roster, he really has had this weird relationship. I mean, he has been the WWE champion. I don't think he won the Universal title, but he did win the WWE championship. But from his NXT days to his main roster days, he is not really fulfilled what he's supposed to be, which is his whole thing is he is a prize fighter. His motto is fight, Kevin, fight. And so Triple H kind of interrupts his match. Now, I found this funny because I was watching Ups and Downs on YouTube, and he talked about how he's in the middle of the match, Kevin Owens with Drew McIntyre, and it was such a good match. And I got to see the highlights from it, and it's like you had two guys that are really good in the ring that really they keep getting the short end of the stick with story modes. And then all of a sudden Triple H's music comes on, he interrupts, they go to commercial break, they come back, and now it's just him and Kevin Owens in the ring. Like the match just got thrown out. And then basically Triple H says all that. He's like, yeah, you haven't really lived up to your potential up here. They kind of keep firing you and doing stupid shit with you. I want you to come back and be on my team, be on NXT, be NXT again. So I kind of like that, but then they ended up doing something kind of stupid, and they had NXT kind of come out, start beating the hell out of him, and just the all-out brawl that we have to seem to end a lot of things with. And then you come to this. Now, this was something that I was not expecting, because it is Rey Mysterio, so he's got the lineage. He's a World Heavyweight Championship winner. I think he won the WWE title as well. But now he's been in this storyline since Brock Lesnar kind of came back and won the WWE title from Kofi Kingston. And so from what I've seen of this, this actually looks pretty good. And by the way, Rey Mysterio's mask, I don't know if you can kind of tell, it's a Louis Vuitton bag, which, a funny story, I think he's come out and said this. Since he's always trying to make like new masks for himself, he ended up one time seeing a Louis Vuitton mask, and he sent it to the guy that makes his masks, and he was like, hey, make this into it. And then he then had to go out and purchase a Louis Vuitton for his wife, because his wife didn't have one. And she goes, wait a minute, you bought how many to make a mask and you didn't even think to get me one? So he was in the doghouse for a minute. So those stories are always kind of funny to me. The behind the scenes stories are always so great. And this is going to be quite interesting because it's a no holds barred match, no disqualification match against Brock Lesnar, which Rey Mysterio, I guess, beat him up with a pipe last week or something like that. So it's going to be kind of interesting, especially because Brock Lesnar, they build him up too much. Like they keep making one very big mistake with him, and this is one thing I actually do want to talk about. They keep making this mistake. I get that he's, UFC alum. He's won the title. He's a bad motherfucker. He really is. But the way they book matches, like he comes back a while back, is in a match with John Cena. Now, John Cena does not have the lineage that he does. He doesn't have all the bullshit. But literally, John Cena couldn't even get so much as a punch thrown in. Like, Brock Lesnar literally took him to Suplex City and suplexed him, which is a German suplex, which is different from the vertical German. You're standing behind, you lock your arms around their waist, and then you kind of throw them over your shoulder. Brock Lesnar did that to John Cena 18 times and then pinned John Cena. John Cena didn't even get so much as a punch thrown in. So that was the wrong billing, because then who's going to believe later on that Brock's ever going to lose? He just took on the face of the company and made him look like a piece of shit, And they do it yet again. Fox, they wanted Brock Lesnar, so Brock made the move to SmackDown. Sorry, I have to shift. He makes the move to SmackDown so Fox can have Brock Lesnar on their TVs. And in the match, he was going against Kofi Kingston, who made this almost Cinderella type story. I don't know how much of it was thought out beforehand, but basically the Kofi Kingston story, he's been working for the company for like more than 10 years, has barely had any kind of run, and then in the Elimination Chamber, Mustafa Ali got injured, and they needed somebody to take his place, so they ended up putting Kofi Kingston in it because he's a great worker. He really is. And he can have 5-star matches and all that kind of stuff. And I remember I was working and I was on a delivery, and I put it on in my car because I knew where I was going. And I remember I pulled up to my thing and they had eliminated all but Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. And I'm like, well, this match is over, thinking that Kofi was just going to get knocked out. I come back out into my car, put it back on, and for the next 15 to 20 minutes, they continued to wrestle. And I mean, it was amazing. They had false finishes where Kofi almost won, and they were just going to town. Like him and Daniel Bryan put on a show and a half, and Bryan ended up winning, of course. But it became this Cinderella type story, and then Kofi went after the title this past WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan, which I'm sure Big E got a lot of shit for this, because he got in the ring and he moved down, and when he did, the camera guy followed him. He went to go grab something and he wasn't supposed to, and I don't even know. I want to know the story behind that. But as he did, they went past this podium, and you could clearly tell that the WWE title was underneath this podium. And when Daniel Bryan came out, they put his title, which actually, while I'm talking about this, let me pull it up, because it's actually one of the more funny customized titles that we've seen in recent years. Let's see if I can find it real quick. There it is. So Daniel Bryan at the time was the new Daniel Bryan, which brought in a little bit of his character, because he is eco-friendly and all that. So he kind of threw away the WWE title, and he ended up creating this eco-friendly. I mean, it's such a weird looking thing, but it's kind of cool. It's got hemp and all that kind of stuff, and it's made out of wood. The fact that they're still selling it for the exact same as the metal titles makes no sense whatsoever. But it was this kind of really cool, and it fit with his character type of thing. So when they came out, when he came out, he put that over the WWE title that was underneath that podium. And so I laughed my butt off, because I looked at my friend Adam, like, dude, there's a title underneath that. So of course at the end they lift off Daniels, and it's like, and they pull it off, and of course there's the original, which you can see this is an adult toy replica from Toys R Us. This is actually plastic. This up here is metal, and it's the Universal title. I'll go into that in another show, because I know this one's actually running a lot longer than I thought. But so it was kind of funny. He messed up, so I'm sure he got into a lot of shit. But so we go back to Friday Night SmackDown, and the match starts. It's gonna be Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston. Kofi's held the title for 4 months or something like that, and all of a sudden Kofi goes to deliver his first blow, and Brock Lesnar picks him up, F5s him, pins him 1, 2, 3. The match was over in less than a minute. Are you fucking kidding me? Why? You can't even let Kofi like show that he's good, and now he's tag. I think they're tag team champions now. Him and Big E. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, I am actually right. They are the tag team champions for SmackDown right now. So he's just out of the title picture. So now you're going against Rey Mysterio, who Rey Mysterio is a very tiny guy. He's a cruiserweight. So to do the no holds barred match, it makes sense. It's supposed to be designed to kind of give Rey the edge, so that maybe people will think, oh, well, he has a chance to win. And they're getting very personal. Brock Lesnar picked Dominic up and beat the shit out of him, which is Dominic, many people will know, is Eddie Guerrero's son. No, I'm just kidding. It was a storyline, not even kidding, when Dominic was like 10 years old. And Eddie's your poppy, man. I miss Eddie Guerrero. But beat the crap out of that kid, who's now like 18, 19, 20, somewhere around there. And so it's become very personal. So this is an interesting match. I hope it's not a throwaway match. I really hope it's not. I hope they actually go the distance and actually do some good storytelling. But he cut a very good promo on Monday Night Raw. And then we kind of get to this, which we're going to talk about Natty a little bit more than Asuka. By the way, they're not using Asuka very well either. Like, now she's women's tag team champions with Kairi Sane, which I'm surprised they're not putting Kairi Sane in something very special, being she plays a pirate character. And they're about to go to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're doing a pirate theme, all that kind of stuff. And they're not going to do anything with her, but keep her with the tag team titles. Okay, interesting. But what more I want to talk about is Natalya. She's in this very odd place in her career, which I actually feel very sorry for her, because unlike someone like R-Truth, who is an amazing performer, but he's never going to be the WWE champion again. He's might get the Intercontinental, he might get the US title. Higher probability he'll get another tag team title, but for right now he's saddled with the 24/7 title, which is the like most jokey of joke freaking title belts. I'm like not even kidding. Actually, one of the ones that we passed is actually one of my favorites. Where is it now? I mean, look at this thing. This is like the stupidest design ever. It's like a gold record that nobody actually wants. This design is just so bad. Like, there's nothing distinguishable on it. It's so bad. They were trying to like go off of the WWE Hardcore belt, and they just did something really bad with it. But R-Truth's okay with it, just like Big Show. They're both at the later part of their careers where they're like, you know, I'm okay with not getting the title belt. I'm going out there, I'm having a good time. And you can see that when Big Show comes out, when R-Truth comes out, when they're both baby faces. If they're heels, they can't ever show this. But when they're both baby faces, they're just this happy to be there kind of person. And it's really good to be at that point in your career. Like, I don't think a lot of people actually ever get to that point in their career in WWE, but those two have. Natalya, not so much. You can tell she really still wants to be there. She still wants to be in championship contention, and they kind of just throw her in when they need because she's a good worker. So I don't think anything's really going to come of that. So who gives a shit? Randy Orton's another one that I can't believe he's not in the title contention and stuff. They're just kind of throwing him. He all of a sudden tagged with Ricochet and defeat the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking Raiders, via disqualification with a big old brawl. And it's like, okay, Survivor Series, we're pretty much going to end every Monday Night Raw with a brawl. So this match was just to get as many people out there as possible. NXT came down, SmackDown came down, and then finally you hear Seth Rollins burn it down, and Seth runs out there. So you'll see this every year around Survivor Series. You'll see just the ending in brawl. Now, is it a bad thing? Not necessarily. I don't see too much bad with it. It's just a matter of do we care? Do we not care? Pride, all the stuff that this whole month is going to be about almost nothing. The fact that they're doing some good storylines with the Rey versus Brock Lesnar. They got Bray Wyatt going against the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Sorry. The Fiend Bray Wyatt, which if you do not know anything about the Fiend, let me show you this guy. Right here. This guy is freaking insanity right now. This is the Fiend Bray freaking Wyatt. Like, the horror movie element of him is just so freaking amazing, that the fact that this guy has reshaped himself again just kind of shows you how good of a worker he is. And then what's funny is when he takes the mask off, he's the Firefly Funhouse. He basically does a kids program type thing. It's the most interesting thing that WWE has going for it right now. And I was really surprised, and I think everybody was surprised when actually the first time he went for the Universal title, he lost. And then he actually won it at Crown Jewel, which nobody expects anything from Crown Jewel. So he actually won it, and a lot of people were surprised. What's funny about him right now, he went on to SmackDown. I don't know why all of a sudden the WWE Universal title is a SmackDown title now. I must have missed that, but this is what he ended up doing with it. As you can see, clearly it's red, and the one above my head is red. He all of a sudden did some magic, and now it's blue, which I kind of like it as blue. Like, that's like really kind of cool looking. I kind of wish when I got mine that it was blue, because I tend to like the color blue already. This thing doesn't even start shipping until then, but I mean, like, look at this. This is really, really pretty. I like it. So yeah, so that's the other thing that's going on in the Survivor Series. Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan, which that's going to be an interesting thing, because in Bray Wyatt's old persona, Bryan, which his real name is Bryan Danielson, so a lot of people still just call him Bryan. He joined the Wyatt family for a minute and then turned on him, and that was actually a really cool storyline, because they couldn't get anybody to boo him, so they just put him back to the yes, yes, yes. So it's a really interesting program, and I think that's the one that has my eye a little bit more. Dude, I just love this. Like, look at that. That is fucking awesome. I can't wait they actually have his mask for sale. I really can't wait to go to get that sooner or later. But so yeah, that's what we got going into Survivor Series. Like I said, this month, every year, you're going to see kind of the same thing, and almost the same teams, depending on if they want to do something special. This year, the NXT is the highest factor. That's kind of like, oh shit, you know. So it's definitely got a lot more eyes on everybody. But you know, they could do some better stuff, which that's kind of what I'm going to get into right now, because as I talked about, like with Natalya, you have a person that's been with WWE for a long time. Do they necessarily use her properly? No. Natalya Neidhart has heritage. She is one of the last students of the Hart Dungeon. She is one of the most gifted athletes that they have in the ring today, but they don't use her properly. And it's like, what? Why? Like, it doesn't make sense. But you know, it is par for the course for WWE, because as I'm about to show you, like the amount of freaking people in the show, which of course everything's kind of freezing up on me. The amount of people that they have on the roster is immense. It is like huge, and it's only going to load that much. Okay. And it's like, you got certain people, like you got Charlotte Flair, who gets thrown into everything, like I said. You got, you know, Curtis Axel, who, again, another person that has a lineage and doesn't really do anything with it. Daniel Bryan took forever to get into the WWE's main event slot, and, you know, he has probably some of the most momentum. You got Drew McIntyre. You got all these different people that, you know, don't ever seem to get a chance to do anything with their personas, with their in-ring. Doesn't matter how good of a worker is. I'm going to bring up this guy right here real quick. Heath Slater. He has been a joke for the longest time in WWE. And this guy is a Golden Gloves boxing champion. And he is a joke, but he's another guy that actually, you know, he's actually okay with it. That's not coming up, so I'm not going to actually... Oh, it comes up right at the last minute. Thanks. But like this... WWE doesn't allow him to show off the credentials. He's kind of a joke, but he seems to be okay with it. Like, he was part of the one-man band when it was by himself, and he was part of 3MB, which the other two members of 3MB are Drew McIntyre and what is his name? Oh, fuck. I don't know, but the third member that you never thought... Daivari? No. Wow, I am like so blanking on his name. I wouldn't even know where to really start to look because I can't even remember what the first letter of the name is. But he went on to become the WWE champion. It was just such a shocking thing. So Heath Slater, Golden Gloves, never does anything. But who I'm going to bring up, because I want to do this every time we talk wrestling, I want to talk about one individual that I think has just gotten the short end of the stick and doesn't ever get to kind of really show that off, which you kind of heard me earlier talk about this person because I was talking about his wife, is Aleister Black. I mean, look at this guy. He's got a martial arts background. He's got a look that is not conventional. And in the ring, he is so beyond like slick in his movements. Very similar to someone like Randy Orton, which if you have not seen Randy Orton does moves effortlessly. Besides the fact that, and I know even if you're not a wrestling fan, you've seen the memes on Facebook of Randy Orton's RKO out of nowhere, where they'll just put him into different things and people that fall or something, he'll come in and grab him and RKO him. Which, by the way, on his Instagram, his wife RKOs him. That was funny. By the way, RKO is just his initials, Randy Keith Orton, or Randall Keith Orton. But, of course, everybody reads it as Randy Knockout. But Randy has a power slam that's really cool. They hit the ropes, and as they're running back, Randy basically almost limbos back, takes them, and slams them to the other side of the mat. And he does it with such a fluid motion that you're just like, holy shit. I mean, he really, all his moves are so slick, so timed out, so everything. And that's something that Aleister Black does really well. Like, he's pretty much, I would probably consider him a super athlete. He has the speed, he has the power, he has the look. He can be something very special in WWE, and yet they put him in crappy storylines. When they finally brought him from NXT up to the main roster, they stuck him and Ricochet together, and then they act like Ricochet was the better of the two, and it's like, it's not. I mean, he does have a mixed martial arts background. He was on WWE former champion, and I don't even know what's wrong with him right now. I think he's on the injured list. Sheamus does the Celtic Warrior workouts on YouTube, and Aleister was on that with his wife, Elena Vega, and you see that he is actually a really good athlete, but they just don't give him enough. I mean, his entrance, his look, everything about him, he should be more than what he is, and I really don't understand it. Wow, there's some funny stuff here. Anyway, but it's just this weird thing. I don't know why they don't like kind of give him an opportunity to show what he can do. I remember the first time I saw him in the ring, I immediately became a fan, and I often listen to his entrance music when I'm driving in the car because I really, really love it. It has a hard rock theme, and you know. So honestly, WWE, do something with this guy. Honestly, I think he should go after the Intercontinental title, because to me, the WWE title, he's got to have more storylines under his belt. So I would really love the Intercontinental title. If they use that instead of the United States, I really don't like the United States title too much, mainly because they just don't use it properly. But I would definitely love to see him in the Intercontinental title run, which right now, that's the worst part. You don't even know. But see, WrestleMania, Tampa Bay, oh my God. So right now, Shinsuke Nakamura is the Intercontinental Champion. And I can't even tell you who he's about to fight. Like, I really can't. Um, that's another person that really didn't get time to shine. But I think that's really um, where Aleister Black should go for the Intercontinental title. I think it would look really cool. I honestly think they should kind of give him a chance to change the Intercontinental. Actually, no, there we go. If he went after the United States title, which right now AJ Styles has the United States title, if him and AJ went at it, he won. I want him to kind of do a customization of the United States title, which would be really, could be, it won't necessarily, it could be really, really cool. So that's kind of my pick for that. Now, I wanted to show off, I don't know, I am kind of running a little bit behind, but I definitely wanted to show this off because this is one of the last reasons why I think people should really look at the WWE and kind of like look at them under a new light. Look at the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Look at all the stuff that they do outside the ring, because the company itself is a really cool company, and this is one of the biggest reasons. Connor the Crusher, I can't remember his last name. I couldn't pronounce it, even if I could. I believe he was a Make-A-Wish kid, and he came in and he just captured everybody's heart because he was just so amazing in what he did, which was just so full of life. And he had cancer. He had pediatric cancer, and WWE has been doing this for years. Like I said, unfortunately, he did lose his life, and WWE donates to pediatric cancer. They do breast cancer. They do right now they're doing a lot with Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns has leukemia. So Roman Reigns himself has a lot of stuff, as you can see right here. You got the believe in the fight and stuff like that. But if you want to cry, go look up Connor the Crusher on WWE. He holds a pinfall victory against Triple H. He loved Daniel Bryan, and like you could see that these guys just absolutely loved him. And I will never ever like not talk about this. I have the Connor the Cure bracelet. I have the magnetic pin, which I gotta find my old hat. Actually, I think it's in my car still. I think that's why I haven't seen it in a while. But I have the pin. I put it on my hat for my last job. So this is the kind of stuff that I think people should look at when it comes to WWE. So this is kind of the last thing I wanted to talk about, because they do donate a good portion of this, and they really do a lot with different organizations and their fans and all that kind of stuff. So it's something to really think about when people want to constantly say bad things about WWE and everything. Well, why are you focusing on all that stuff? Why not focus on some of the good stuff that they do? And the other thing that I want to say is, how many times when these sports teams win like the championships, they have the trophy over here, and then they grab a WWE championship and hold it above their head. Like you see it in NBA, you see it in NFL, you see it in all these different things. So it's like all these organizations that people constantly say, oh, that's real sport. But at the end of the day, they all want the WWE Championship. Just saying. Anyway, but it's a really cool thing. And like I said, if you've never been to a live event, put it on your bucket list. It is the most amazing thing you will ever see. Like I said, my first WrestleMania, I got to see somebody dragged out of there for a fight. My second WrestleMania, we got to be part of a proposal. 2 proposals. One did not end very well, but the second one, I don't know, because it was people in the crowd. We were all sitting there, and all of a sudden behind, we started hearing stuff. We turned around, this guy's proposing to his girlfriend, and right after he asked the question, the whole crowd, yes, 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 yes. And of course she said yes, and we all cheered, and it was so much fun. And that was before the event ever got started. I ran into Noelle Foley, which is Mick Foley's daughter. I ran into her at WrestleMania, and I ran into her at Halloween Horror Nights the exact same year. So like I said, it's something that's near and dear to my heart. It's a way for me and my daughter to connect a little bit more, because she's growing up really, really fast. I'm like scared to death of it. So like I said, I just wanted to take some time to talk about WWE. This will probably be a thing going forward. I'm probably gonna, since I'm still trying to find my voice a little bit, doing this and everything show, I do want to talk about every facet of my life, the stuff that I like. So I think every Tuesday, because it's a very good time frame, I'm gonna talk about WWE, wrestling in general. We will possibly talk about AEW, which, by the way, this is the funniest thing. I've got to share this because I saw this video on What Culture Wrestling, and I have to talk about it because the women's champion for SmackDown, Bayley, they were talking about how every other time she's been a champion, she always wore the belt around her waist. And they were like, why isn't she wearing the belt around her waist? Then you see her new ring gear, and it says Bayley on her chest, right? But if she would have put the WWE title right there, and you took out the first 2 letters and the last 2 letters, it would have spelled out AEW. So they said that somebody in the back probably noticed that and was like, we can't have you wear that belt. You got to put it around your shoulder, which a lot of WWE champions do. I know CM Punk, when he was on Collider Live, he was like, why don't they ever wear the belt around their waist? I always did. And he really did. But most people, they literally take the belt and just like, yep, that's me with the belt. It's like, it's a belt, people. It goes around your waist. I always liked Undertaker when he was doing his American Badass shtick. He actually put it around his neck like a necklace. It was so weird. But yeah, so I just wanted to tell everybody that. I will probably be doing another WWE show next week. I'm hoping that my buddy can join me so that you're not just hearing my opinion. As far as the rest of the week goes, I think I'm going to talk about a little bit of TV maybe tomorrow. Thursday, I'm going to do part of my collection. I'm going to start showing off my collection, showing you how I display certain things, and so that should be a little fun. And then Friday, I'm just going to do a real BS talk show, probably talking about myself a little bit more. Maybe you guys can get to know me a little bit better. As always, like, share, comment, whatever you want. I definitely want to do this more and more. Like I said, as of right now, I don't have a job, so this is kind of keeping me entertained for a little bit. So definitely comment below if you would like to help me with my dream of having my own place, or my daughter's dream of getting her black belt. I have the GoFundMe pages under here. I have a wish list for my show that you can go on if you want to help me get, better lighting, because as you can see, I have my ceiling fan, which you can see in the reflection. I have my ceiling fan on just to make sure it's properly lit, because I don't have I have a lot of lights, but I just don't have the right lights. I don't have a mic, as you can see, different stuff like that. So if you would like to support the show, you can go down to my Amazon wish list. If you would like to help with my collectibles, when you get to the Amazon wish list, to the left, you'll see a gift list. And then finally, in this one, I have a link if you would like to get your own Loot Crate, Slamcrate. The Firefly Crate really isn't doing anything right now, but I still have that, kind of. There's a link below. You can get $5 off of your subscription. So go to lootcrate.com, use that that link, and you can get $5 off your Loot Crate. And that's about it. So, too sweet, throwing the guns. I'll see y'all later.